already looking at this, we've got some difficult words in these choices. That's what makes it hard, mostly, in my opinion, but let's take a look at the passage as well. It's one long sentence, which I don't love. In a study of residential mobility in Washington, D.C., Latanya Brown Robertson et al. Found that increases in household spending power via tax credits had mixed effects on mobility decisions, possibly because residential location choices are not fully reducible to economic factors, but are also blank non-economic factors, such as access to strong local social networks. I mean, I don't really know. Mixed effect kind of stood out to me. Not fully reducible, meaning you can't completely say something is economic, but there's also, I don't know, my very dumb summary here is something like influenced by, right? Because it has mixed effects, I guess. So maybe that means there's economic and non-economic factors. And when it says not fully reducible to economic factors, it's saying there's more than that, right? It is economic, but you can't completely remove everything else. You can't reduce all the explanations down to the economic stuff. That's tricky phrasing. That's very academic, very college. So if it's not fully reducible to economic factors, then it's also influenced by non-economic factors, including in some way non-economic factors. That's kind of what I think I want to say, but this is a good example where I have a vague sense, but it's not strong enough to be like definitive that if I just find a word that means that, I'm definitely picking it. I'm going to have to try all these choices and see how they sound. So going with choice A here, it's not fully reducible to economic factors, but are also transposed with non-economic factors. So that does not make sense. To transpose kind of means to switch. Trans means kind of to switch, and then pose, position, right, is kind of in there. I think, I don't have the actual origin of the word. So transpose with is kind of switch places. So it's very specific. It's not just like move around. Transpose means they got to switch. So I don't even know what that would mean here. They're also transposed with non-economic factors. So the choice is somehow switching the non-economic factors. Like I can't even explain it because it doesn't make any sense. So this is a great example of sometimes why learning new words is really useful. Is if you know what they mean, they just sometimes they don't even make any sense in the choice. It's not like you're like, oh, well, this is close. It just doesn't work. The only reason someone might pick it is if they have no idea what it means. If you know what it means, it doesn't make sense. So mediated by, maybe median in math and statistics is the middle. So mediated, a mediator is someone who kind of gets in the middle of an argument and kind of tries to solve it. So mediated by kind of means something like, I was about to say influenced by, but kind of, oh my God, how can I say it without using that word? Mediated by is, influenced by. Okay, this is what I want to pick right now, is kind of, mixed with. I know I'm doing what I'm doing there too. So mixed with non-economic factors, something's getting in the middle, right? So you've got these economic factors. It's not all about that. So there's something else that's kind of getting mixed in, getting, mediated in. This feels like it could work. It's not necessarily like obvious to me, but the fact that as I was trying to define it, I was using words that I already used is a good sign. So that's pretty good. So I'm getting rid of A. Let's look at C. So decouple, that's a word I hope you could just break down based on the roots. So couple, right, is a pair, two things. To decouple is to separate a pair, right? So to decoupled from is separated from. So the choices are not fully reducible to economic factors, but are also separated from non-economic factors. No. We want to say they are influenced by the non-economic factors. There's multiple kinds of factors that are going in. So if we're saying that they're decoupled from them, that means that it's kind of saying the same thing, that they are reducible from those particular factors. So we don't want to say this. That does not work. Antecedent to, if you know grammar, you might know that word. Antecedent just means before, right? So if you have a pronoun, the antecedent is the word that usually comes before the pronoun that the pronoun is referring to. So it's a very common grammar term, but it has all sorts of meanings. So to precede is to come before. Antecedent to means something comes before. So it's kind of related words. But It doesn't make any sense here. We're not talking about time at all, right? These location choices are not fully reducible to economic factors, but are also antecedent to non-economic factors. So they come before the non-economic factors? No, because then why is it a factor? If it's a factor, it's influencing someone's choice. So if the choice comes before the factor, it's not a factor. So that's a more complicated way of eliminating that, but I do think it's one where this is almost like one of our common trap answers for the passage. That word, antecedent to, involves the ordering of events, the ordering of time, but that doesn't seem to be a part of this passage at all, so that doesn't work. So yeah, B is the answer. I would have gotten there eventually, and I wouldn't have bookmarked this. I'm sure of that choice, but it's not obvious, if that makes sense, right? So sometimes with these, you just know what word you're looking for, you know the definition, and you know the definition of all the choices, and so you know when you found a match, a hit, and then you just put it in, and that's that. It's obvious. Here, I know the answer, I'm confident in it, but I had to work for it, and that can happen too. It doesn't mean we did anything wrong. It just means it's a difficult passage. There's a lot of other words in this passage that kind of get in the way. But notice the ones that I highlighted are very relationship-based, right? Things are mixed effects, not fully reducible. That's a tricky one, but it's telling me that economic factors matter, but are not the only thing that matters, right? So a lot of our dumb summaries for the passages end up being about things that matter or don't matter. So this is kind of hitting that as well. And that's basically why we're filling in the blank with the word influenced by. We're trying to say that these non-economic factors matter as well. And the but, I guess, is kind of doing that there. What do you think? How easy was this for you? Was it obvious? How well did you know these answer choices? I'm curious what the average high school SAT test taker knows. To me, these are probably words that most people wouldn't know and would need to learn. Hopefully, now you know them if you didn't.